So last week I emailed the over 12,000 people in my email list and asked a simple question. And that question was, what is your number one biggest challenge as a songwriter? I got hundreds and hundreds of emails back, and overwhelmingly, one of the biggest challenges facing songwriters is simply finishing your songs. Hi guys, my name is Kepi, and if you're new to the channel, this is where we help other songwriters write their best songs using our over 20 years as professional songwriters, as well as teaching songwriting at some of the best contemporary music institutions across the world. I am lucky enough to have been a professor at the Berklee College of Music, as well as being lucky enough to call John Mayer one of my personal songwriting mentors. And in the many years that I've been helping thousands of songwriters and students write better songs, this particular issue strikes at the core of one of the biggest challenges, and I really want to address it head on in this video. I want to start by talking about some of the reasons why songwriters don't finish their songs, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an incredibly powerful and simple method for finishing every single one of the songs that you start. There are lots of reasons why songwriters don't finish their songs, but over the years, I have observed there are really a handful of core reasons why this happens. And the method that I'm going to show you, the MAP method, is so powerful and so effective at addressing every single one of these problems. The first issue is that a lot of songwriters get confused between what is a general idea and what is actually a song idea. So it's one thing to say, I want to write a song about someone who I love but is no longer in my life, and I want to write a song about how much I miss them and how much I still feel their presence in my life. That is a general idea. It's not yet a song idea. It only becomes a song idea when we have a title and a concept. For example, that idea becomes a song idea when I say, and I'm going to call that song Perfume, and I'm going to use the metaphor of perfume to really talk about that sensory feeling, that visceral feeling of really sensing someone around you, even though they're not physically present. So now we not only have a general idea, we actually have a song idea because it has a title and a concept attached to it. But what do we do with that if we have the title and concept? Well, we're going to use the MAP method to help us write the actual song. But there are a few other reasons why people don't finish their songs. I think a huge reason that people don't finish their songs is that songwriters can be scared of ruining a good idea. And once again, I think once you actually have a mental model, the MAP method, to help you actually understand how to take a great idea and bring it to fruition, you no longer need to be scared of ruining that good idea. Another really huge reason why songwriters don't finish their songs is they get over-focused on the details without taking enough scope of the big picture. We get very perfectionist about getting this line just right before we move on to the next line, and this is a really fantastic way to make sure you don't finish your songs. The MAP method that I'm about to show you is a way to take a much broader scope of your song and really create a plan for your song. That means you actually have direction from the beginning. You're not wandering around aimlessly trying to find where the song is going to go. You actually know where the song is going to go before you even set out to write the song. Doesn't that sound great? Let's do it. So the MAP method stands for make a plan. And what I'm actually going to show you are a number of different song plans or song maps that will work for almost all your song ideas. So in this other video, I went into a lot of detail about the importance of finding a title, a concept, and having a song map. And what I'm going to do in this video is really magnify in on the concept of the song map. And I'm going to show you 3 different universal song maps that you can actually apply to almost any song idea that you have once you have the title. But the song map becomes incredibly powerful when we have our title in mind, because what it means is that at every point along this plan, we are thinking about how our developmental sections, which are really our verses and pre-choruses and bridges, how those sections are going to approach the title, but approach the title from a slightly different angle. So we don't want each verse to be actually just doing the same thing with different words. We want each section to be presenting new ideas, taking the emotion and the idea further and deeper, so that when we get to the repeating part of our song, that repeating part doesn't just feel like it has diminishing returns through repetition, but actually it feels like, oh wow, I'm repeating this bit, but it feels like something more because of how the song map is moving. The first song map I'm going to show you is a song map called Problem, Escalation, Change. One thing that you'll see in so many successful songs is that the song really starts out with a problem. It's very clear from the beginning of the songs, literally from the first 2 lines, sometimes even in the first line, what the essential problem, tension, or conflict is of the entire song. It's the thing that is actually driving the songwriter to write the song in the first place. But the key with this song map is that we're not going to start at the most climactic moment of conflict. We're really just going to start with how the problem is sensed or perceived, some smaller version of that problem. So let's take a really basic, almost cliched example, like a breakup song, okay? If you were to write a breakup song, well, we don't want to start our song at the moment of breakup, the moment of eruption. What we might actually do is start the song with the singer perceiving something that's not quite right, some way that the other person is communicating slightly different, or it just doesn't feel right. In John Mayer's beautiful song, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, that song is fundamentally a breakup song, but it doesn't start at the moment of the breakup. What he does is he starts with the feeling that there's something not quite right. I can't feel you when I hold you. It's the idea that like even when we're hugging, it just doesn't feel quite right. As this song progresses, it progresses into a much more explicit conflict and argument between these two people, but that's not where it starts. So we're starting with how the problem is sensed in some smaller way. What this does is it gives us an opportunity to then escalate. And this is the second part of this song map, escalation. So when we start with the problem as a small problem, we can now escalate it, make the conflict bigger, make the problem stronger. You could also think about what are the consequences of this person's actions? How does it feel for me? What is it doing to them? So we have problem and escalation, and the final point in this song map is change. So we could totally just escalate the problem in a linear fashion, as John Mayer actually does in Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. It just gets worse and worse and worse. But this particular song map I'm suggesting here is slightly different. We're actually going to use the last developmental section to change direction a little bit, to say there's a problem, it's getting worse, but we're going to use that last section to express the way in which we want things to be different. What might it look like? Or what might it look like a year from now? What do I actually want? So we're starting almost with like a negative and turning it into a positive. So this first song map is actually two secret song maps, because you could totally just go problem, escalation, intensification of the problem and do it in a linear direction, or we can actually create this sort of non-linear song map where we have a problem, it escalates, and then we change direction at the end. We think about and express how things could be different, how we actually want things to be. I actually think of this song in my mind as the redemption song map. Song map number 2. This song map is called Situation, Context, Consequence. We're going to start by describing the present moment situation, what is happening right now. And we can really lean on things like sense writing, sensory description, even a little bit of storytelling here to really describe what is happening in this moment. Now, this is not mutually exclusive to the idea of starting with a problem, but in this song map, what we're really focused on is describing the present moment. The next stage in this song map is context. So context is where we actually zoom the camera lens out a little and take in a broader picture. Now, a way that you could approach context is by providing backstory. You might go into a memory that informs how we got to this particular situation. A couple of songs come to mind here. So the Bruce Springsteen song, Devils and Dust, which is one of my favorite songs of all time, is an example of situation and context. So Bruce Springsteen sets up the situation. He sets up the feeling of, I've got my finger on the trigger and I don't know who to trust. We feel that this song is starting in the present moment. And there's definitely a lot of tension and conflict and problem in that, but really it's the present moment situation. And the second verse zooms out and gives context to why the narrator of that song is feeling so on edge. What we get in the second verse is a mix of memory and dream, but we really understand from this mix of memory and dream that there is a broader context, there is a backstory here to why our narrator is so on edge. We're given this imagery of war and battle. We understand that our character has probably actually experienced literally some kind of war or battle, and that is what has driven them to the present moment that was actually established in the first verse. The final part of this song map is consequence. So consequence is all about what is the impact of this situation and its context on me? What does it mean for me? What is the emotional impact that has happened? When we look at that Bruce Springsteen song again, what we can see in the final developmental section is the consequence upon the narrator of this song, faith just ain't enough. So we start with the feeling of my finger being on the trigger, being right on the edge of crisis. Then we get the context. Where did this crisis happen? It happened because of the history of this character. And what is the consequence? The consequence is faith just ain't enough. This character has lost their faith, or whatever faith they do have left is not sufficient to protect them from the weight of this experience. One thing that sometimes comes up here when I'm talking about song maps in my classes and with students is a feeling like these song maps tend towards narrative songwriting, and that narrative songwriting really only has a comfortable home in a limited set of genres. So country music and folk music, these genres that have a real traditional lean on narrative. One thing I really want to make clear is that these are not about narrative. These are simply about the progression of ideas. And this final song map is a wonderful song map when you really explicitly do not want to write a narrative song. That what you really want to do is just explore a feeling. I remember in one of the song feedback sessions and Q&A sessions that we run in our Patreon community, someone brought up the song Happy by Pharrell Williams, and they said, you know, this is a totally one-dimensional song. It's just a song about a feeling. That doesn't appear to be a song map here. And when we actually look inside that song, that's not actually true at all. So even a song like Happy, that's just about a feeling, not about a narrative or a story, has a really clear song map. So in the song Happy, what we can see is that this song map is feeling, obstacle. So this song is all about the feeling of being happy. What is verse 1 doing? It's simply describing, using lots of imagery, what it feels like to be happy. But verse 2 is not just the same thing. It's not more descriptions of what it feels like to be happy. It's presenting a challenge or an obstacle to that feeling. What Pharrell is saying is, here comes bad news talking this and that. It's like there is a challenge or an obstacle to that feeling. And we get back to the chorus by saying, but I'm not going to let that affect me because I'm happy. So using this song map, I could actually write a song called I'm Sad. And if I follow this feeling obstacle song map, I just start the song map by describing what it feels like to be in the depths of sadness. I might use descriptive language like the clouds outside are grey, it's raining, I'll never see blue again, drowning in this feeling, heaviness, weight. I will draw on lots of imagery and descriptions, just like what it feels to be in the quagmire of sadness. And what's my chorus going to be? I'm sad. I'm so sad. I'm very, very sad. Now, what would be an obstacle or a challenge to that feeling? One way that I might approach it is to say, you know, you call me on the phone saying, come on, get on up, let's go out. And I say, I don't want to, I'm here on the couch. Why? Because I'm feeling sad. So we get to this second chorus, and what becomes clear through the development of the ideas following this song map is that the singer of this song is actually wallowing. They're not just sad, they are committed to their sadness, even when someone else is trying to draw them out, invite them out, that maybe I actually want to be sad. I'm not just sad, I want to be sad. So there's still a development of the idea here, which is really, really powerful. I've also created a free PDF of a song map template that you can download for free right now. And this template guides you through a series of really specific questions that will help you develop a song from beginning to middle to end. The other really important layer here, of course, is then sitting down to write the song and taking your ideas and turning it into lyrics and melody. And if you really want to see that in action, make sure to check out our short course, The Songwriting Process Start to Finish, in which we demonstrate the full songwriting process, making use of song maps and then integrating lyrics and melody. And if you want to see song maps in action to write a great song in under an hour, make sure to check out this video right here. Thanks, guys. See you soon.